So far, I'll just give a brief recap to what we have heard in the past. We have seen that from Brahma's body, Swayambhuva, Manu and Shatarupa are created. From Brahma's body this is. And Swayambhuva, Manu and Shatarupa, they get married and they have 5 children, 2 boys, Priyavrata and Uttanapada, 3 girls, Akuti, Devahuti and Prasuti. So far we have heard of the lineage of Uttanapada. We heard of Uttanapada, and then we have heard of Dhruv Maharaj, Anga, King Vena, Prithu Maharaj, Prachina Barhi, and the Prachetas. After the Prachetas retire, there is nobody qualified to take over the whole kingdom. That's why once again Swayambhuva Manu tries to persuade Priyavrata. Priyavrata had already taken the renounced order of life. He had continued to be a brahmachari. He did not want to get entangled in all this responsibilities of family life, responsibilities of the kingdom. So he had already retired. He had gone to Gandhamadana hills and he was in deep meditation thinking about the Lord. But situation has so arisen that there is nobody qualified to take over the kingdom. And that is the reason now Swayambhuva Manu tries to persuade Priyavrata to kindly come back once again. You take over the kingdom. So today's discussion will be around these lines. The chapter here starts off with King Parikshit inquiring from Shukadev Goswami. King Parikshit asks, O great sage, why did King Priyavrata, who was a great self-realized devotee of the Lord, remain in household life, which is the root cause of the bondage of karma, fruitive activities, and which defeats the mission of human life? He continues, the king continued, O great Brahmana, this is my great doubt. How was it possible for a person like King Priyavrata, who was so attached to wife, children and home, to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness? So he has questions. First question is, how was it possible for Priyavrata, who had been fully trained by Narada Muni, to attain the perfection of human life? Perfection of human life is to realize oneself that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, establish oneself in the activities related to the soul, and gradually go back home, back to Godhead. That is the responsibility of somebody who has understood, okay, this human life is for this purpose. And we hear that Narada Muni had fully trained Priyavrata in this direction. And he has been following that. How is it possible that somebody who is already practicing Krishna consciousness in its perfect sense, as trained by Narada Muni, once again come back and lead a household life? And here household life is very truly described as the root cause of the bondage of karma, which defeats the mission of human life. Very strong words here Srimad Bhagavatam is using. So his first question is that, why did he come back first of all? And his second question is, after coming back, he seems to be so attached to his wife, his kingdom and his kids. And it is told that he attained perfection. How is it possible? Because the two look contradictory. Firstly, somebody is fully entangled in material life in terms of family, children. Secondly, he is told that he has attained perfection. How are these two things possible? Now let's understand why Shastra is so strong when it comes to getting entangled in the material life as far as family life is concerned. Many of them generally they tend to blame ISKCON That, oh, if you go to ISKCON, then family life is over. Then you have to go to the forest. They will tell you, you should leave your husband, you should leave your wife. These are general misconceptions that is there. So let's try to understand. Let's try to see some more understanding of what is this entanglement first of all. Generally we understand that as a brahmachari, which is the first ashrama that everybody is supposed to enter, which is the brahmacharya ashrama. Earlier, the whole 100 years was divided into 4 divisions. First 25 being brahmacharya ashrama, the next 25 being, some of them enter into the Grihastha ashrama, and then they enter into the Vanaprastha ashrama, and then finally sannyasa ashrama. We need to understand this word ashrama means a place where spiritual education, spiritual life is cultivated. Some place that is conducive for the cultivation of one's spiritual journey. That place is called as Grihastha ashrama. It's called as ashrama. So everybody starts off with brahmacharya, wherein he learns to control his senses and understands who really he is and what his duties are once that is in the human form of life. Then the guru who is observing these young children, some of them, he calls them and says, you better continue as brahmachari. You have nothing to do with this material world, nothing to do with responsibilities on those things. You please continue. They are called as Naistika brahmacharis, who continue to be in the brahmacharya ashrama. And some of them are allowed to enter into the Grihastha ashrama, assuming that they have been fully trained in taking care of their senses. This is the condition. It's not like, oh, you can't control your senses, that's why you enter Grihastha ashrama. No. There are responsibilities to be fulfilled in terms of the material world as well. So for some of them, the Guru Maharaj says, you continue to be in the Grihastha ashrama. Now the problem here is, as Prahlad Maharaj says, as Rishabhadeva says in the 5th canto, as we go ahead, we will hear this as well. Pumsaha striya mituni bhavametam tayor mito hridaya granti mahuhu ato griha kshetra sutapta vittaihi janasya mohoyam aham mameti. What happens when a girl and boy comes together? It says, Rishabhadeva says, the attraction between male and female is a basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and my. Janasya mohoyam aham mameti, I and my. This is bound to happen unless one is trained how one can still be in the renounced order, how can still be detached from this material world. That is why generally we see the initial stages of marriage, you see. The husband and wife are almost inseparable. Wherever the husband goes, the wife goes, and wherever the wife goes, the husband goes. What is happening is when the two come together, there is a very strong knot in the heart called as the Hridaya Granthi which is created. And this Granthi, what happens, it becomes more and more as day passes by. Because the attraction and the attachment increases as days passes by. Of course, this is more relevant in the olden days because olden days there were not so many distractions. There was only one Hridaya Granthi. But today it's not like that. There's so much distraction happening. Hridaya Granthis are happening every day, day in, day out. So fallen the ages. So that is why after some time the Hridaya Granthi is broken here and then attached somewhere else these days. So the divorce here and then somebody else starts living with somebody else. But earlier days it was not like that. That is why a lady, she's married at a very early age. She's had no attractions, no relationship with a man in the sense of love or physical attractions. So the first person whom she has interacted with in terms of love, in terms of relationship outside the relationship of the brother or father is this one man. And this man is supposed to be fully trained and he treats the wife right, not in terms of how can I enjoy this body, how can I enjoy this girl. No. He is completely trained in the fact that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. Somehow or the other, due to past karmic activities or because of the order of my Guru Maharaj, I am entering Grihastha Ashram. The goal of life is still continue to be coming out of the entanglement of life and birth and death. Only difference being now that I have been gifted with another person, so the responsibility has doubled. I have to take care of my own spiritual life as well as spiritual life of my wife as well. This is the true understanding Grihastha Ashram. So he starts training her also in that direction. The training has to some extent already happened at her home on how she should behave as a ideal wife, as an ideal mother. All of that has happened. Now he further continues to train her in this direction on how being together we continue to be detached from this whole affair of body and senses. And slowly, after some time, they start detaching themselves from the bodily attraction and focus more on the responsibilities of the self, of spiritual life, as well as of taking care of the family. This is how it is supposed to continue. But unfortunately, because of lack of training on both the sides, this Hridaya Granthi goes on increasing more and more. Day by day, this attachment goes on increasing. So, one way of saying is that let's quench this desire by giving it the sense attraction object. That is to say, let's put off this fire by putting some more ghee. The more ghee I put, the more it is going to burn. So this kind of marga is not going to work. That's why here Rishabhadeva is saying that you will get entangled if you are getting into this cycle. So in the 5th canto, this chapter that we are talking about, the word Bhagavata Atma Ramaha is mentioned. There Prabhupada very beautifully explains, if one is self-satisfied as a supreme person of Godhead, he is called as the Bhagavata Atma Ramaha. There are different kinds of satisfaction. Karmis are satisfied in their fruitive activities. Jnanis are satisfied to merge into the effulgence of Brahman. And devotees are satisfied to engage in the Lord's service. The Lord is self-satisfied because he is fully opulent. And one who is satisfied by serving him is called as Bhagavata Atma Ramaha. Now if somebody is not trained up to be in the Grihastha Ashrama, he ends up being this. Karmis are satisfied in their fruitive activities. That's when he enters into something called as the Grihamedhi. Grihamedhi is sense enjoyment. My senses, my extended senses being sense of my wife, sense of my children, sense of my mother, my aunt, and so many different things. So that's why Prabhupada here is referring to Bhagavata Atma Ramaha being one who is fully satisfied in serving the Lord. So ultimate goal is that we have to be fully satisfied by this process. That requires a little more of training. Further, about Grihastha or Grihamedhi life, wherein a boy and girl come together, Prahlad Maharaja says, Prahlad Uvacha, Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvignadiyam asadgrahat hitvatnapatam grihamandakupam vanam gato yad dharimashrayeta. O best of asuras, is talking to his father, Hiranyakashipu, king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well where there is no water but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest. More clearly, one should go to Vrindavana, where one's only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prahlad Maharaj goes on and says, Adanta Gobir Vishitam Tamishram Punaha Punaha Sarvita Chavanana. What is happening in the married life? It is just chewing the chewed, going on chewing the chewed. Let's say somebody gives you sugar cane, you eat little. After eating, all the rasa is over. Then after that, if you chew, nothing comes out of that. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, untrained grihastha life is something like this. You're chewing the chewed. After some time, nothing comes out of it. And then you seem that you are completely engrossed in these responsibilities. That's why many of them, youngsters we keep meeting and they're married. After 3-4 years, they say, Badat Range. I didn't know this is like this. I didn't want to get into this. I want to come out of this somehow. Sorry. Grihastha Ashrama means 25 years of brahmacharya is over. Unfortunately, I didn't practice it. Now, Grihastha Ashrama, 50 years of, it is a bond. You have to continue. You can't leave and go saying, oh my God, uncontrollable person is here. I cannot live with this species. Sorry, you're stuck. You have to continue. Now that you're stuck there, it is a good way, one way, because you understand that, oh, there is no happiness here. This chewing the chewed is not going to give me happiness. That is one, if somebody is fortunate, they'll get directions of the spiritual master on how to sail about this whole thing. More or less, more often than not, many of them are stuck in this cycle. Somewhere they understand that, yes, I have got into this cycle. I would love to come out of this, but I cannot come out because of the bondage. Now, how do I sail through this aspect of life called as the Grihastha life? And those questions are being addressed here today. First question is, he understood everything. Why did he get into household life? Second, after getting into household life, you're saying get in perfection. Let's see what happens in the middle now. Yes. So Shukadeva Goswami there starts off with the answer. He says, one who is attached to the nectarian honey of the Lord's lotus feet and whose mind is always absorbed in his glories may sometimes be checked by some impediment, but he still never gives up the exalted position that he has acquired. So sometimes, Shukadeva Goswami says, sometimes some impediments come in these lives of the devotees, where they seemingly look like they are coming out of devotional service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura says what these two impediments are. The first impediment is that of Vaishnava Aparadha. When somebody does Vaishnava Aparadha, he is removed out of devotional service, his devotional progress is checked. And sometimes it may so happen that he is removed out of the association of devotees. This is the first one, impediment. And the second impediment is by the desire of the Lord or his devotee, sometimes one's devotional service is checked. Prabhupada there explains how Jaya and Vijaya, once the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, but due to the desire of the Lord, they became enemies for 3 lives. Thus, the desire of the Lord is another kind of impediment. So, second, 2 ways. One is Vaishnava Aparadha. Second one is desire of the Lord. Now, this desire of the Lord causing impediment to a devotee is happening in very rare scenarios only. If somehow or the other we are not able to progress in a spiritual life and are coming out of devotional services because of Vaishnava Aparadha. So, these 2 things are the impediments, is what Prabhupada mentions here in the purport. But Prabhupada very mercifully says, but in both cases, the pure devotee, once advanced in Krishna consciousness, cannot be lost. Prabhupada continues, Krishna consciousness is perfect and eternal, and therefore it cannot be lost under any circumstances. Because the material world is full of obstructions to advancement in Krishna consciousness, there may appear to be many impediments. Yet, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declares in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 21, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Once one has taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, he cannot be lost. There is a saving grace that even though we seem to be lost for some point of time in our life, as long as our desire, we understand, oh yes, I have made a mistake. I should not have, but I have made a mistake. Somehow or the other, he remembers the Lord. He once again desires to render devotional service. Lord is very, very merciful. He shows some or the other way, once again to bring him back to devotional life. So here, Priyavrata is in deep meditation. And so I am who Manu understands that now the progeny has to continue and then somebody has to take care of the material affairs of this world. So Swayambhuvanu comes and tries to persuade Priyavrata. My dear Priyavrata, please come. Please, once again, take back this. He also assures, don't worry, your devotional life will not get disturbed. But Priyavrata is very nicely trained by Narada Muni. He understands that all these are chocolates. I should not take these chocolates because I know I will get caught. So he somehow or the other says, no, sorry, very sorry, I cannot do this, and he continues. Now Swayambhuvanu has tried and it did not happen. That is the reason now Lord Brahma has to come into the picture. So Lord Brahma once again descends himself from Satyaloka to the Gandhamadana hills. And then he tries to persuade once again Priyavrata, saying, no, nothing will happen. Don't worry, your devotional life will be intact. It is a responsibility that you have to take up this duty now. And because he is Lord Brahma, Narada Muni and Priyavrata, both of them accept Lord Brahma's words, and he goes about. Very beautifully Prabhupada explains here, there is no resentment in both Priyavrata and Lord Brahma. Generally it so happens when the authority says, even though I want to do this aspect of devotional service, or authority says you do this. They try to persuade, no, you do this. After some time we're like, okay, Prabhu, because you're saying I will accept this. But then in the heart, there's so much of anger and disappointment saying, I think this devotee is partial to me. He does not want me to progress. He is trying to check my progress. Actually, the devotee would have thought, no, you better do this service. You can do better in this case, or the need of the hour in the organization is there to do this service. But because I am not fully trained on accepting the instructions of an authority, for bahya, outer exteriors have accepted because there is no other option, because Prabhu will stop both my services. So let me accept this at least. But here Prabhupada says they both are not resenting. They are saying, they are fully accepting. Okay, Brahma is saying it is for the good, so we'll continue. So we also need to accept the instructions of our authorities, our superiors, or our spiritual guides. When they say, you don't do this, you do this, without resentment. Because that will ensure that we continue to progress. Because more often than not, what happens is we become very, very accustomed to one kind of a service or one kind of a way of progress. And that aspect of our devotional service, sometimes our progress is checked because of that. Sometimes we say, okay, Prabhu, okay, Mataji, now this time you have to do book distribution. This week your service is not in the kitchen, not in the department. You have to go and do book distribution. Sometimes because of our own shortcomings, we see book is very difficult. You have to stand under the sun. Oh, here it is good, there's fan, and then time to time, 9 o'clock, start cutting vegetables, 11 o'clock over, then come back and chant, and they have pressure and go back. But there is no end to it. Morning I go, I don't know how many books will go, I don't know who will come, who will shout at me, who will say what, I don't know. So sometimes it may seem that what happens in devotional service also, we become sometimes complacent. We also find a circle there to very comfortably doing devotional service. Devotional service is not done comfortably. Devotional service is when I come out of my comfort zone for my Guru Maharaj and for the Lord. My comfort is not very important. I have to ensure that the Lord's service and the Guru's service continues. So that's where Prabhupada very beautifully points out that there's no resentment in both Priyavrata or Narada Muni. So then Narada Muni and Priyavrata, they offer their respects with folded hands. And then Priyavrata comes back once again and starts off taking the charge of the kingdom. And then he also continues to enter into the Grihastha Ashrama. And then he further, after entering the Grihastha Ashrama, he marries, and then he has children, and then he has another wife, further children's there as well. So like this, Priyavrata continues to very nicely take care of both his Grihastha Ashrama life as well as his responsibilities of running the kingdom. So in between this, today's shloka comes. Even if one goes from forest to forest, one who is not self-controlled must always fear material bondage because he is living with 6 co-wives, the mind and the knowledge, acquiring senses. Even householder life, however, cannot harm a self-satisfied, learned man who has conquered his senses. So in both cases we see, be it the Grihastha Ashrama, Vanaprastha Sannyasa or Brahmacharya, at any point of time he is still living with 6 wives. One is the mind and the 5 knowledge acquiring senses. Grihastha Ashrama, he accesses one more wife, 7 wives. So either ways you have to learn to control these 6 wives or the 7th wife. Otherwise it's not going to happen. So Grihastha Ashrama is not a facility given to enjoy your senses. No. It is just a responsibility to ensure that you continue to progress in spiritual life. So somebody gives you an option, Grihastha Ashrama or a Brahmacharya life, Prabhupada says very clearly Brahmacharya life. Because a major portion of your headaches are all solved there. You don't have to worry about your rent, you don't have to worry about water has come in the flat where you're staying or not, or somebody is knocking on the door in the middle of the night, or nothing like that at all. Everything is set up, nicely progress in devotional life. Morning breakfast comes, you don't have to worry about how much 1 kg of dal costs, 1 kg of rice costs, no worries at all. Morning breakfast comes, after lunch comes, evening dinner comes. Nicely do devotional service. When you come back tired in the evening, hot milk is there, drink hot milk and retire for the day, over. But a Grihastha life is not like that. You have to see whether electricity bill is paid or not. If it is not paid, tomorrow when you get up, there is no electricity at all. So all these things are there. So Prabhupada says, if you can continue as a brahmachari, please continue. A major portion of your headaches are solved. 60%, 70% you are sure to go back home, back to Godhead. Some of the others, sometimes what happens is some devotees don't accept this proposal. They use their foolishness to enter into Grihastha life. Does it mean it is over? So this today's session is to ensure that in the Grihastha life, what do you have to do to ensure that your devotional life is not checked? So now we enter that aspect of the session today. So as a Grihastha now, how do I lead my life? First of all is to always go back to the root, understanding I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. The goal of life is to go back home, back to Godhead. As a matter of duty, I have to continue my worldly affairs here. My wife is there, my children are there. I need to understand that tomorrow, if I am there or not there, they will continue to go on with their lives. 1-2 days they will cry or laugh. After that, it is going. I remember when I was in Bangalore, one of the devotees was not feeling well. So I was given the duty, responsibility, service of taking care of the devotees. Prabhu was in ICU. So ICU, you cannot go inside for long and all those things. So we are supposed to wait outside. So full time, your duty is to ensure that you are waiting outside, and time to time just go inside, check if Prabhu is okay. ICU, as we see, many people will be there. There's another man who apparently was there in ICU for almost 14 days. Some major operation happened. He was 14 days in ICU. So his wife also is there, taking care of him very nicely. So Prabhu was there for long days, almost 15 days. I am also there, and this Mataji also is there. Initially, she was crying. She was very sad and don't know what to do. She's praying, so many different things. She had a small book where she was reading all the shlokas and all the things. She told, please chant Hare Krishna mantra also. She started chanting Hare Krishna mantra also. 3 days happened, 4 days happened, 5th day happened. 6th day happened, slowly her cell phone started. She was seeing, scrolling cell phone and all those things. 10th day happened, to my utter shock. One day, Mataji is seeing some joke and laughing. Husband is fighting for his life inside, and Mataji is laughing here. That day understood, oh, okay, this is the reality of life. Not to blame anybody. Life has to go on. You cannot go on crying for somebody. Life has to go on. This is the nature of material world. Forgetfulness is very, very common here. So as a Grihastha, I need to understand that life will not stop just because I am not there tomorrow. So my involvement in this material affair, in this family, should be as a matter of duty only. That as long as I am there, my responsibility to ensure that my wife, my husband, my children are taken care of to the best of my capacity. More than that, I understand that even if I am not there, they will go on with their lives. They will not stop with their lives. That does not mean that I hate them and blame them, saying that why should I take care of you? Anyways, after I go, you will anyways watch reels and laugh, no? So I will not take care of you. No. It is my duty. As a brahmachari has a duty, vanaprastha has a duty, sannyasi has a duty. This is the duty of the grihastha to ensure that the family is taken care of well. But all the while, he should be very, very clear. Prabhupada explains how to go about Grihastha life. There's a story he says, not to follow this, not to imitate this story, but how to take the essence of it. There is one lady, one Mataji. She's married. She has a husband, she has children. And so perfectly she is taking care of her duties. So perfectly. The husband is ready, his dress is ready, his tiffin box is ready. Everything is perfectly taken care of. When he comes back home, house is very clean. She is not watching some serial. No, house is neat. When he comes, she is offering water. Everything is perfect. Children, when they go, tiffin is ready and all those things. Immediately when the husband goes and the children go, she takes up her phone and calls her. She has a relationship outside marriage. She has a paramour, a boyfriend. So she is doing her duty so perfectly because they should not understand that I have a boyfriend outside marriage. Husband should not get doubt. Children should not get doubt. So I will do duty perfectly. Similarly, not that we should follow that Mataji and have a relationship outside. No. Similarly, I should understand that that relationship of mine is with Krishna. My eternal boyfriend, so to say, is Krishna. I'll do this duty so perfectly that they don't understand that my relationship with Krishna is more important to me. So that's why I'm doing this duty so nicely as a wife, as a husband, as a parent to the children, that they don't disturb me when my relationship with my Lord is being continued nicely. So that I can always say when I'm chanting, if they call, I say, see, I have given you hot water nicely, I have given you breakfast on time nicely, I have taken care of everything. When I am chanting, you should not disturb. When I am doing a devotional service, you should not disturb. Festival today, all other days I am there here. Festival, I have my service in temple, you should not disturb. Do I stop you from going into movies? Do I stop you going there? No. You please don't stop me from my duties in the temple. So this is how we need to breeze through. Understanding my eternal relationship is with the Lord. These temporary relationships need to be taken care of as a matter of duty only. So like this, Grihastha continues to lead his life, always understanding that he has to only think of the Lord in whatever duty he is doing. Many times we hear families, congregation devotees coming and saying, oh Prabhuji, it's so nice for you. You're always in the temple. You can always think of the Lord. But for us, it's not like that. We have business to take care. We have children to take care, husband to take care and all those things. No aspect of this material world can stop us from progressing in devotional life. It is all about what is my desire. I could as well be a pujari in the temple. While doing the pujari, my mind may be going elsewhere. Very much possible. So just because I am wearing this dress and in the temple and doing a service there, does not mean that I will progress and another person being outside doesn't have an opportunity to progress. No. I need to understand that yogina api sarvesha madgatena antaratmana. I only have to try to go on thinking about the Lord. If so many devotees who are working in different companies constantly, in spite of work, they'll think, how can I progress? How can I ensure that I support this movement? There are many devotees like that. So progress in devotional life is guaranteed because in spite of all the responsibilities of household life and all those things, they're still thinking, how can I push this movement ahead? How can I think of Krishna more? I feel I'm not progressing. I'll go to my spiritual guide and ask, Prabhu, I feel I'm not progressing. Please tell me, what should I do? As long as this consciousness is there, there is no doubt that the devotee will progress, irrespective of whether he is in the temple or he is outside the temple. What needs to be understood is that he is always in thought of the Lord. He is never lost in his thoughts of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami very beautifully explained this. What intelligence should I have? Anasaktasya vishayan yatarham upayunjataha nirbandhaha krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya muchyate. Our renunciation of the material world should be yukta vairagya. How can I engage and channelize everything in the devotional service? So if somebody is becoming an IAS officer, he can as well continue to render wonderful devotional service there. How can I be as an IAS officer and continue to be? Or if I am working outside and saying wherever I am, how can I use this opportunity of mine to ensure that this progress continues? What are the ways we can do it? End of the day, what is Prabhupada's mission? To ensure that the Hare Krishna Mantra is spread more and more opportunities get an opportunity to render devotional service. So let's say I am working somewhere. I'm staying in a flat. In the flat, it is an opportunity for you. How can I ensure that, okay, can I think of once in 15 days, can I have a small program in my house? Let's invite all these people and have a small kirtan session. I'll call one Prabhuji, my spiritual guide, let him come and give a small class. Whatever small prasadam I can give every day. You not be a seven item feast every time. No. Can I do this every 15 days? Oh, now that Govardhan Hills project is coming up, how can I be a part? Can I support this? Can I help them reach out to somebody to support this movement? So this temple comes up very fast. So when these thoughts are there, very simply we can focus and continue in our devotional service. Further, we hear from the Shastras, from the Goswamis, as a Grihastha, how do we contribute? How do we be a part? Of course, the ideal situations may be difficult today, but we need to take the essence of it. It says 50% of whatever earnings are there goes to Krishna consciousness for the pushing the movement further. Remaining 50%, 25% is the family. 25% for emergency situations. Because now the times are very bad. 50% if you give to temple, then you have to come and be in the temple and no other opportunity. You can't live life outside. But the essence is, I understand that what I am earning for is not for my sense gratification. I am obliged. I am in the Rana of my Guru Maharaj. He has given me everything of self-realization. Whatever is required, he has created. How am I serving him back? So whatever portion possible, 40%, 30%, 20%, 10%, let me support this movement so that the Hare Krishna mantra is spread out and more opportunities are there for people to become Krishna conscious. A, B, C, D. A is association of devotees. B is book reading. C is chanting. D is diet and devotional service. These four things. These four things have no inhibition. Doesn't matter whether I am a sannyasi or a grihastha. I can still follow these four. What are those things? A for association of Vaishnavas. B for book reading. C for chanting. D for diet and devotional service. So I always need to think, am I doing the ABCD of my spiritual life? Am I associating with devotees more and more? Am I going back to my spiritual guide and asking spiritual questions? Not talking about what is happening there, oh, their family this is happening, their family this is happening. That is not what a spiritual guide here is for. Spiritual guide is for me to ensure that my spiritual progress is not checked. Second one, book reading. Am I reading my books correctly? Am I not understanding? I'll go back to my spiritual guide. C, is my chanting going on nicely? D, diet. Am I trying to eat those things which is conducive for spiritual life? And devotional service. How can I render some devotional service? Four kinds I can engage myself in devotional service. Prana, Artha, Diya, Vacha. Prana, to give my life, to give my energy for Krishna consciousness. Book distribution, doing some service in the temple. Physically rendering devotional service. Prana, Artha. Okay, I have earned some money. I definitely have needs and wants. But at the same time, I'll ensure that some portion of mine always goes to Krishna. C, Prana, Artha, Diya. Okay, I'm not able to do first two. Diya, how can I give ideas to ensure that it is the Krishna consciousness movement is being spread more and more. Fourth one is Vacha. I can't do all these three things. Let me speak to others about Krishna consciousness. See, there's a nice temple here. Oh, there's Ram Navami happening here. Please come. Akshayatiya is there. Oh, this is there. Somehow or the other, tell another person about Krishna. So, Prana, Artha, Diya, Vacha. Basically, there's nobody here who cannot do all these four. It's only my mind stopping me. So, we need to engage ourselves fully in all these four activities. Prana, Artha, Diya, Vacha. Because what happens is, in the way, as we are rendering, continuing with our lives, we become attached to so many different things. The hard-earned money is there. Naturally, attachment comes there. Very difficult to give up that money, no? Because they've worked 10 hours, they've clocked in the office, got shoutings, went on extra days also, taken so much of pressure from this thing, and night also I'm doing Excel sheet in my dream only. So that money also I'm going to give to Krishna. Difficult. I'm coming, I'm serving every Sunday, I'll serve, I'll broom this temple. Money, children are there, rates are increasing. what happens is, this karma of ours is sitting in our bank balance actually. So 5 places, no, Kali is there. 4 we know, illicit sex. What are the other 3? Intoxication, gambling, meat eating. 5th place is gold, no? Gold, money is all the same thing. With money, buy gold. Without money, you can't buy gold. So that is where it is sitting. Kali Purush is sitting there. Karma is also sitting there only. So what happens if I do a nice study of what is happening in the money? When I am living this body, there is a big balance left out. I was a devotee, I didn't break 4 regulative principles. Doesn't mean the next people who are coming are going to follow the same thing, no? So through my money, they are getting involved in the sinful activities. So there are only 3 ways of money. One is bhoga, second is tyaga, third is nashta. If I don't do bhoga, how much bhoga can I have? Maximum 10 chapati. More than that if you eat, you will get diabetes actually. So bhoga. So after bhoga, if I don't do tyaga, finally what will happen? It will become nashta. It will go somewhere. Sometimes we, so many of them, I remember somebody talking about to husband and wife. They had, didn't have children. Won't give one penny to others. So much so that whatever vegetables they are there, they will eat for 3 days, same thing. They bring a vegetable, the vegetable is done, the peel of vegetable also they will make vegetable next day and eat, so like that. So when they left the earth, they had around 80-90 lakhs and went to somebody of their this thing, and that person did dvamsa of that. Naturally, they have earned hard and kept the money. If it comes to me, why will I bother about how hard they have worked? Let me enjoy it. People think, the next generation continue to think like that. Does not mean that we make them papas and live in the street and go. No, not like that. Basic thing you give. Because anyways, he is going to earn, he or she is going to earn again, he is going to, okay, a rich man's son is there. Is he sitting idly? No, he is working more than his father. His father has already kept crores. He is again working more and more to ensure that it is continuing more and more. So everybody is going to be in this cycle, rest assured, no doubt about that. So ensure that basically, basic thing is little whatever is required for the maintenance, okay, I've kept it. Remaining thing, I ensure that Krishna gets it. Otherwise, it is going to become, that's why in Delhi you see some, they put some, like here they put, no, Swami Gauragajjar that they put here. Some of them put Hare Krishna also. Tilak and all those things. In Delhi they write, Papa ne kamaya, son ne odaya. So dad has earned and son has blown it up. So Grihastha Ashrama, to ensure that this doesn't happen, that my son or children don't get entitled with all these things so that they lead a sinful life. That is why we ensure that what I am earning, a small part of that goes to Krishna, part of that goes to maintain the family, part of that for emergency fund, and we leave it at that, and ensure that any point of time I am following A, B, C, D, association, book reading, chanting and devotional service. With this, we will be able to continue to be in Krishna consciousness irrespective of where it is, where we are. That's why finally there are 3 kinds of, I'll wind up with this, there are 3 kinds of people. Nitya Siddha, Kripa Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Nitya Siddhas are always eternally liberated. They are in the spiritual world, or then they come once they are eternally liberated, like pure devotees. Then there is Kripa Siddha and Sadhana Siddha. Sadhana Siddha is somebody who attains perfection by his sadhana. That is very rare. So there is any chance for us to progress in our devotional life, it is only because of Kripa Siddhi. If we are going to attain perfection of human life, it is only because of Kripa Siddhi. And Kripa Siddhi is by the blessings of the pure devotee or a spiritual master. So wherever we are, we try to ensure that we try to please our spiritual master, because Shastra says, Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tata guru tasyete katita hyartaha prakashante mahatmanaha. It is the pure devotees who reflects this knowledge in the heart. So we pray to our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, if we are able to practice brahmacharya, that he gives us an opportunity to practice brahmacharya for the rest of our lives. But we have taken a wrong decision and somehow become grihasthas. We pray to the spiritual master to ensure that we never forget Krishna and to continue to always progress in our spiritual life, to ensure that in this life we somehow or the other attain love of God and go back home, back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.